Apple have indeed surprised me with the release of the iPhone 14 Plus because they are claiming some big things like the best battery life ever on an iPhone so far. But looking deeper, even just at the phone on a standalone, it may be the first time Apple have done a plus size model for their non-Pro phone since the notch-based design. I have some concerns and questions on if the iPhone 14 Plus actually makes sense. And that question is even more apparent when comparing it against the Galaxy S22 Plus because as they are effectively the same price in the UK at £949 starting, the distance is a lot bigger than you think. iPhone 14 Plus versus the Galaxy S22 Plus. Let's get into this discussion. Now, some takes for this discussion are going to be objective and straight and factual as much as possible. Some are going to be subjective to what I think and also my experiences. And of course, in some cases, it will be a nice mix of both. But for the design, I have got to straight up give it to the Galaxy S22 Plus. Now, I know the notch design is iconic and functional for iPhones since the introduction of Face ID, since the iPhone 10, but next to the overall design and packaging of the S22 Plus, there is seriously no competition for just how well packaged the Galaxy S22 Plus is, from the super slim and fully symmetrical borders on the front flat display, the more rounded edges for a more comfortable handling experience, and a matte finish at the back with the finely cut chamfers around the cameras and the edges. The Galaxy S22 Plus is still one of the best overall looking smartphones I've used in recent days. Nothing against the iPhone 14 Plus with Apple's version of a tried and tested design that is iconic towards them, but for me, it's the Galaxy S22 Plus all the way. I mentioned before that the front design of the display is definitely in favor of the Galaxy S22 Plus with just how good it is in terms of the packaging and presentation, but it's also down to the technical and real world experience. Although by a slight amount, in all fairness, the iPhone 14 Plus does have a slightly sharper display at a resolution of 2778 by 1284 resolution compared to the 2304 by 1080p full high definition plus display on the Galaxy S22. But for me, it kind of pretty much ends there because the Galaxy S22 has a super smooth 120Hz adaptive refresh rate display and a crazy max peak brightness of 1750 nits. Real world user experience is everything alongside software optimization for a good display experience, but at this price point, for the iPhone 14 Plus to still come with a standard 60Hz refresh rate and not at least 90Hz is something that honestly just does not sit well with me at all. The final judgment will be real world, again as I keep saying, but I will say this that now I'm pretty much confident and ready to say overall the Galaxy S22 Plus has got the better display. Now for the specs and the performance, I want to say that as I'm based in the UK, I am comparing the A15 chip in the iPhone 14 Plus to the Exynos 2200 model of the Galaxy S22 Plus. With the improvements Apple are saying that they've made to the cooling and the thermal performance, I think I'm confident to give the overall performance here to the iPhone 14 Plus. Out of principle, I don't fully agree with the fact that Apple have not placed the same A16 chip found in the Pro models. But the slight saving grace is that it is using the 5-core GPU variant of the A15 chip instead of the 4-core variant. Overall, whether we like it or not, even with the fact that there is more RAM available to the Galaxy S22 Plus at 8GB compared to the 6GB on the iPhone 14 Plus, Apple seriously just dominates when it comes to the performance across the board, and I seriously think that it's going to be no different here, especially with the cooling improvements and the efficiency benefits it brings. And hey, if you're enjoying this discussion so far, then be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. You will be part of Team TLS, the Tech Lover Squad, and you won't miss any future videos on the channel. With that out of the way, let's continue with the discussion. Let's talk camera. And that is the case with the iPhone 14 Plus, where it is using a dual camera system at the back, and now the same main camera hardware as found on the iPhone 13 Pro Max with an f1.5 aperture lens and a 1.9 micron pixel size for the camera sensor. And the 12 megapixel selfie sees a nice improvement with an f1.9 lens and finally autofocus. Next to the improved camera engine, which they are calling the photonic engine, a faster shutter for less image blur, it does look promising. And look, credit in general to Apple when it comes to things like excellent video quality and portrait mode. But again, if you compare it to the Galaxy S22 Plus at the same price point, you get a 50 megapixel main sensor, a potentially better ultra wide lens, And the main thing is an additional true optical 3x zoom lens at 10 megapixels. Again, I really need to do a full camera comparison to see what the results are here. And in the end, really still thinking about it, not having a 3x zoom or dedicated zoom on the iPhone at this price point is another miss for me personally. I'm still confident that S22 Plus will still offer a more seamless video recording experience from allowing you to pause and continue on the same clip and also switch from the rear cameras to the front-facing camera while still recording on the same clip. The age-old battle of iOS versus Android is still the case here for sure. Now look, I'm gonna hold my hands up and say that yes, I am definitely more of an Android user, so take that subjectivity and bias for whatever the end results will be. And of course, One UI 5 of Android 13 is still currently in beta for the Galaxy S22 devices, with the final release set for somewhere around mid-October from what we know apparently so far, whereas iOS 16 is basically now official. Look, I won't go super deep into the software because each have their strengths and weaknesses, with iOS 16 in particular bringing a very nice fresh take on the customization of the lock screen and overall having the gold standard for the smoothest and consistent OS experience across the board. Now, Android in general, especially in the case of One UI, offer not just great speed, but a level of customization and also optimization for better user experience for the larger display with true multitasking and better reachability when accessing things like the notification panel and better gestures when going back step by step throughout the UI. Again, I do prefer Android, and although iOS is still limited in optimization for the larger display of the iPhone 14 Plus in this case, it still does offer the smoothest OS experience you can get. If the battery capacity of the iPhone 14 Plus is the same size as that found in the iPhone 13 Pro Max at 4,352 milliamps, backed with the A15 chip, iOS optimizations, and the lack of a 120Hz or 90Hz display, then I'm confident to say that the iPhone 14 Plus should overall be better than the S22 Plus when it comes to the battery life, considering it is using the Exynos 2200 model after all. The saving grace for Samsung is that you do get support for faster 45-watt wire charging, which in the real world charges much quicker than the iPhone 14 Plus, and you get support for reverse wireless charging with PowerShare, which is still a feature missing on the iPhone 14 Plus, and the wire charging is limited to 20 watts, which will take a good close to 2 hours to charge to 100%. As stated before, ultimately the real world experience and testing will be the final say in this comparison, and also depending on your region and what device you have access to and pricing, the final outcome could indeed be different. But for me so far, I can't help but feel that the Galaxy S22 Plus is bringing a lot more to the table when considering the same £949 price. Between these two, which one would you pick? Let me know in the comment section below. That's it for me, Ben from Lover of Tech. If you enjoy videos like this, you know exactly what to do. Hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're part of Team TLS, the Tech Lover Squad, so you don't miss any future videos on the channel. Hope you're all safe during this time. I will catch you in the next one. Peace. Battle.